everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about somewhat a controversial topic. I don't really feel like it's controversial, but I know some people can get offended. I'm going to be talking about animals that I don't want to own, have no interest in, you know, things along those lines. Sorry about like my background or me not being entirely centered, because my dogs have decided they want to sleep directly behind me, and I'm sitting in a very uncomfortable position currently, but everything's fine. I'm also really tired, but we're gonna get through this and then I'm gonna nap. So I have a list of 10 animals, or you'll see kind of generalized things that I would not want to own, that I'm going to discuss with you guys. Some of them are ultra specific, while some are more generalized, like I said. Starting with a more generalized one, that would be fish or anything aquatic. It's not so much that I don't like fish or that I don't like aquatic animals, because that's not really the case. It's more so that I have no interest in tank maintenance. I don't have a lot of interest in learning about how to take care of the tank and the water and parameters and all of the stuff that comes with fish keeping. I'm not super interested in, and I feel like even though there are some fish that I find really pretty, like I think betta fish are incredibly beautiful. They might be one of the only fish I really think are pretty, I don't know. But anyway, even though I think aquariums can look beautiful in a home, I would never get any kind of animal just to look nice in my home. I feel like I would need genuine interest in the animal, which I think a lot of people that have fish do have. There are the odd few that like think of fish as decor, but hopefully that's a mentality that is steadily being left in the past. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm just not super interested, so I can't imagine I would ever get anything aquatic, like fish, but also, I mean, turtles and, you know, things along that line. Like, I can't imagine getting anything that lives in water. Another pretty generalized one, possibly a little more specific than the last, is birds. I don't have a lot of interest in birds in general. I also feel like there are a lot of cons to owning a bird that don't really match up with my lifestyle. Like their lifespans, I know some of them have shorter lifespans, and like the noise they make, and you know, I just, from what I've seen, having friends that own birds and things like that, I don't think they would be the right fit for me, which is totally okay. Nobody's forcing me to get birds. Next is horses, and the one after that I had on my list was like any kind of livestock. So I'm gonna kind of combine the two and just say that I can't imagine ever living on like a farm or a ranch. I can't imagine having enough land to accommodate those kinds of animals, or wanting enough land to accommodate those kinds of animals, if that makes sense. I am very much so a city girl. I like being close to the city. Where I live now is like borderline too far away from this city for me, and I'm pretty freaking close. So I just can't imagine living somewhere that would be suitable for those kind of animals. Some of those animals I find incredibly cute and probably wouldn't mind owning too much. I just can't imagine ever compromising what I enjoy in a home and in an environment for myself to own those animals, because it wouldn't be fair for me to put them in less than ideal conditions for my, you know, benefit, and vice versa. So can't imagine owning anything that would require a farm or a ranch, like horses or cows or pigs, or you know what I mean. Some people even own like chickens in the suburbs now, which is cool. I just can't imagine doing that either. I also don't love chickens that much. Next is monitors. Ooh, Lord. Okay, so I can't imagine owning an animal that could hurt me. I mean, I do own an animal that could hurt me. Technically, my dog could hurt me if he wanted to. But I can't imagine owning any kind of monitor. They freak me out, to be perfectly honest. Or like large lizard. I think they are so cute. Like, tegus aren't technically monitors, but like, if we're talking large lizard here, I think they're really cute. I met Maddie Smiths when I went to Michigan on vacation last year. I vlogged all about that, by the way, if you're curious. But I thought her tegus were incredibly cute. I just can't imagine ever being at a point in my life where I would want to own a very large lizard that they don't necessarily tame down. Like, I've learned a lot about the fact that people will like make them overweight or keep them too cold to make them docile, and that just, no thank you. Like, I don't want to have to torture my animal to make it so that I can handle them. Like, I'm not cool with that. So yeah, probably no large lizards in my future. That goes for like iguanas too, you know, just like anything in that sphere. No thank you. Next, we have turtles and tortoises, and I know they're different, but like, just pretend they're not different for the sake of this video for a second, because I'm equally not interested in both. Turtles kind of hit on that, like, I don't have any interest in keeping aquatic animals thing, but also tortoises, I think they're very cool. Especially like the big giant sulcatas. I think they're like, people that own them, I want to meet them. I want to feed them. I don't want to bring them home. Does that make sense? Like, I don't have a lot of reasoning for that. I mean, they need a lot of space. Even the small ones need a decent amount of space. I just like, I don't know. They're the type of animal that's never quite sparked my interest, which I think is enough of a reason to not get one. I think there are naturally animals you're drawn to, and if you're not drawn to them for whatever reason, they're probably not a great pet for you, even if you think they're like cool to look at, you know? This next one also touches on another reason why I don't like love the whole tortoise thing. I don't ever want to own an animal that will more than likely outlive me. Like, anything that has an outrageously long lifespan, it stresses me out. Like, the idea that like some people have to put their pets in their wills for their children is a lot to me. I just, no. It took me a long time to be comfortable enough to deal with my leopard gecko and tenrex lifespans, and those are like moderate lifespans. Like, they're not short, but they're not 50, 60 years or plus. I can't imagine having pets that I have to worry about when I die. You know what I mean? Like, now I have to worry about my pets if I got into a car accident and passed, like, in a surprise kind of way, but I don't have to worry about like being 95 and having somebody to take care of my pets because they're also 95. You know what I mean? I just, no, I can't do it. It stresses me out. It gives me anxiety just to think about it. I don't know how people do it. I mean, I guess I do. It just isn't something that gives them anxiety, while it is something that gives me anxiety. I don't know. This next one is the first one that I am going to say. This is just a video about how I feel right now in June of 2019. I reserve the right to change my mind, but currently I have snakes on my list. Now, the reason I gave that disclaimer is because I love snakes. The problem is I love rats a lot and mice a lot. I have pet rats, in case you didn't know. I have videos of them on this channel if you're curious. I love them a lot, and I don't think that you have to not love one or the other. I think that snake owners can have pet rats and vice versa, and everything can be fine. My problem begins with live feeding. Now, obviously, frozen thawed is ideal, but some snakes, particularly ball pythons, which are my favorite and what I would want, sometimes they can be picky eaters. And when they are picky eaters, it's your job as their owner, as their caretaker, to provide for them in any way necessary. Now, a lot of the time, I shouldn't say a lot of the time like I know for a fact, but from what I've learned and seen, a lot of the time, if you can't get them to eat frozen thawed, you have to give them live and then transition them back on so that they're not starving or whatever. And I am not fully aware of how capable I am of doing that. And I would never want to get an animal that I can only care for if they meet this certain amount of characteristics. Like, I wouldn't want to get a ball python and be like, okay, it's established on frozen thawed. Let's assume it never goes off, and if it does, I'll just rehome it. Like, I'm not comfortable with that. So if I was to ever get one, I would have to come to terms with the idea that there is a potential that I could have to live feed. And I'm not there yet. I reserve the right to change my mind, but I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be. So snakes are on the list, even though I love them and admire all of my friends. I love all of their snakes, and I would love one. But anyway, my husband also doesn't care for snakes that much, so like that's an added thing. But it's fine. Next is arachnids, insects, what are the other ones? Crustaceans, I don't know. Anything that falls under the like creepy crawly category, right? Now, I don't have like a specific reason for this. It's another one of those things that I don't have a lot of interest in general. I don't have a lot of fear when it comes to those sort of things. Like, I have a healthy appreciation for like tarantulas and stuff like that. The one thing I really don't like is centipedes. They still freak me out. Don't know if they'll always freak me out, but they do now. I don't love them. But you know, most of the things that fall under that like quote unquote bug category, obviously they're not all bugs, but you guys sort of know what I mean. Like anything that's sort of creepy and crawly and people would tend to call bugs. You know, are we on like the same wavelength? Anyway, I have a healthy appreciation for them, but not a lot of interest to back that up. And again, like I said before, there's nothing really wrong with not having interest in wanting to own something. It doesn't necessarily mean that I never would. Like some of the creepy crawlies, I don't know what else to refer to them as. I don't want to call them bugs because they're not all bugs. And I feel like the category is very broad in my mind. But some of them can be useful. Like I know some people keep isopods and then they use them in their bioactive enclosures, but they also keep them somewhat as pets. Like people will collect them, and I think that's cool, but I've just never had a lot of interest. And so I can't imagine ever owning anything like that. And then last is a pretty specific one, but also could branch off into a really generalized topic, and that's chameleons or really advanced reptiles. Now, I know some people don't think chameleons are advanced. I disagree. Reptiles are something that I have a very generalized interest in. Like, I love my leopard gecko. There's a couple other gecko species that I'm interested in and have spent a lot of time learning about. I, again, love snakes. Don't know if I could own any, but We already discussed that. There's a lot of different lizards that I love. Once you get into more advanced reptile care, I start to A, get overwhelmed, and B, lose interest. And I think that's fine. I think it's fair to say that I connect more to a lot of mammals than I do reptiles, and I have very specific interests when I stray into like the reptile world. So I can't imagine, again, reserve the right to change my mind. I'm only 25 after all, but I can't imagine ever wanting to own something like a chameleon or anything that's advanced, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. Just because currently every time I even sort of look into animals like that, I just like immediately I'm like, no. Sort of like one of the more frequently left comments on my channel is, I thought I wanted a hedgehog and then I watched your videos and changed my mind. It's sort of the same thing. I learn about these animals and then I'm like, and typically I don't approach them from a place of like wanting to own one. I approach them from a place of like wanting to learn. But either way, the second I do start to learn about them, I'm kind of like, okay, that's not the pet for me. And then I move on. And I find that with most advanced reptile species. So, yeah, I don't think they're quite for me. So anyway, I'm sorry this was a whole lot of blabbering and like, that's not for me, that's not for me, I'm not interested in that, I have no real reasons. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video anyway, and hopefully you enjoyed learning about some of the things that maybe you just probably will never see on this channel. Again, I absolutely, like I've said several times now, it's possible I will change my mind. This is how I feel right now in June of 2019. Who the heck knows what I'll feel in like 2025. Who knows? So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video, hopefully. Bye. I'm a lonely, hard feline.
I take what's mine and I leave behind.